99% of domestic users unaffected by electricity tariff hike. Affordable homes in Kuala Lumpur get 25% discount in assessment. Hello, good evening and salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm SAHIH and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. Domestic users in Peninsular Malaysia with a monthly electricity consumption of 1,500 kilowatt-hour kWh and below will not experience an increase in tariff following the electricity tariff adjustment from 1st July to 31st December. This was announced by Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change Minister Nik Ahmad, which he said covers 99% of domestic users in Peninsular Malaysia. However, domestic users with an electricity usage of over 1,500 kilowatt-hour, which is equivalent to an electricity bill costing a minimum of 708 ringgit monthly, a surcharge will be applied at a rate of 10 sen per kilowatt-hour.
Kerajaan menerusi mesyuarat Jemaah Menteri pada 16 Jun 2023 telah bersetuju untuk menampung kos subsidi elektrik sebanyak 5.2 bilion ringgit sempena pelarasan tarif elektrik di Semenanjung Malaysia bagi tempoh 1 Julai sehingga 31 Disember 2023. Ini bermakna hampir kesemua pengguna domestik dan pengguna bukan domestik voltan rendah tidak akan terjejas dengan pelarasan tarif elektrik yang terbaru ini. Manakala pengguna bukan domestik, voltan tinggi dan sederhana, high and medium voltage, serta kategori baru utility air dan pembentungan akan menikmati penurunan.
The electricity rebate of 2 cents kWj given currently stays under HE implementation of the imbalance cost pass-through ICPT mechanism. ICPT refers to a mechanism under the Incentive-Based Regulation IBR that allows fuel costs to be adjusted every 6 months based on global fuel price fluctuations. Meanwhile, a new category of non-domestic users are among those who will enjoy a new surcharge reduction from 20 cent per kilowatt-hour to 3.7 cent. This involves all water and sewerage operators under the state governments.
Ini bermakna operator-operator air di bawah kerajaan negeri akan menikmati surcharge yang lebih rendah untuk tempoh Julai sehingga Disember 2023. Keputusan ini adalah selaras dengan usaha bagi meningkatkan kapasiti dan keupayaan operator air untuk menyediakan air terawat dan bersih kepada pengguna.
Non-domestic users involving medium and high voltage industrial consumers will also enjoy a reduction in tariffs from 2 cent per kilowatt-hour to 17 cent. It is estimated that 83,000 accounts will face a monthly bill increase of 25%, roughly equivalent to 187 ringgit. Despite the increase, the government is still bearing the subsidy cost of 58 million ringgit since the ICPT surcharge was not fully released. Owners of affordable homes in Kuala Lumpur will receive a 25% rebate for their 2023 assessment rates. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim today said the reduction will cover the second half of the 2023 assessment year, involving a reduction of Kuala Lumpur City Hall DBKL revenue of 2.067 million ringgit.
Setelah mendengar keluhan ramai daripada kawan, termasuk pekerja yang jaga lift, polis, bantuan polis yang di bawah peringkat bawah ini, mereka minta supaya diberi pengurangan. Jadi saya setuju untuk bagi pengurangan mulai penggal kedua tahun 2023 sebanyak kurang 25% daripada cukai taksiran yang ada sekarang.
He said this during a meet and greet session with residents of the Civil Service Housing Project PPAM in the nation's capital. The reduction is given for all homes built after 2014. It is given in residential assessment tax for affordable homes to reduce the cost of living for B40 and M40 residents in the Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur. The decision on whether Malaysia will enter the endemic phase of COVID-19 will be made after the Ministry of Health, MOH, presents a report on new recommendations and standard operating procedures, SOP, to the Cabinet next week. Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa said Malaysia is currently in the transition to the endemic phase, which began on 1st April 2022. She further explained that the review of the new recommendations and SOP will take into account the World Health Organization's WHO guidelines, the global COVID-19 situation and the number of infections in the country.
Kita akan umumkan selepas saya membawa pembentangan kepada Jemaah Menteri daripada bahagian kesihatan awam telah pun memberikan saranan-saranan untuk kita laksanakan SOP yang mungkin boleh dikategorikan SOP baru, tapi selepas saya insyaAllah minggu depan lah kita akan bawa ke Jemaah Menteri dan selepas itu kita akan buat pengumuman.
Last May, the MOH announced that the status of local areas of infection would remain unchanged for the time being, even though the WHO has declared that COVID-19 is no longer a public health emergency of international concern. The Local Government Development Ministry, KPKT, has approved a budget of 211.405 million ringgit for 41 projects in Pulau Pinang. Announcing the good news, as Minister Ngah Komeng said, the single largest allocation was for the construction of 2 people's housing projects, PPR projects, one each on the island and on the mainland. Ngah said all these projects, when completed, will benefit the rakyat, especially those in the lower income group.
Kesemua jumlah peruntukan adalah berjumlah 211,405,000 untuk 41 projek di seberang perai dan juga di Pulau Pinang. Ini adalah antara peruntukan yang paling besar yang pernah diberikan kepada Pulau Pinang. Dan saya beri jaminan di bawah pimpinan Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, tidak ada mana-mana negeri akan dianaktirikan. Kedah, Kelantan, Terengganu pun kita akan mendapat layanan yang adil dan saksama, seperti yang disaksikan oleh semua pihak.
He said this to reporters after the Sentuhan Kasih Sayang program at Dewan Bandaraya in Georgetown today. He said another 9.62 million ringgit was for 29 maintenance projects under the Housing Maintenance Fund, TPPM, and Housing Maintenance Program, PPP. 1 million ringgit have been allocated for the refurbishment of the Astaka Tun Sardon food court and 785,000 ringgit for 9 small-scale projects, which will see 45 new My Kiosks for hawkers and petty traders. Ngah dismissed the notion that the huge allocation was part of an election budget. Pulau Pinang, Selangor, Negeri Sembilan, Kedah, Kelantan and Terengganu will be going to the state elections soon. Pulau Pinang is set to dissolve its state assembly on 28th June. The Ministry of Defence intends to build more new housing units as well as carry out repair works of Malaysian Armed Forces ATM veterans' residential units from time to time. Deputy Minister Adli Zahari said 43 applications for the construction of residential units under the ATM Veteran Housing Initiative had been approved compared with the initial target of 40 units this year. He said the ministry will also continue striving to bear the costs of repairs and restoration of the homes from time to time.
So, hari ini kita mungkin rumah yang bersaiz ini kita boleh dapat 85,000, tapi pada masa yang akan datang saya fikir dalam 2-3 tahun ke depan itu kosnya makin meningkat. Jadi kita akan cuba sedaya upaya untuk pastikan bahawa lebih banyak rumah dapat kita bangunkan, terutamanya rumah-rumah baru dan perbaikan rumah-rumah sedia ada.
Speaking at a press conference after the state-level ATM Veteran Housing Initiative's key handover ceremony in Kampung Air Baloi, he said the ministry will continue to evaluate the need to build more veteran homes. He also advised veterans to update their data and personal information through the Veteran Integrated Benefit System VIBES 2.0 portal to facilitate delivering services to them and their dependents. Coming up, government to set up EEV ecosystem swiftly to keep Malaysia competitive. It is high time for Malaysia to look into care economy seriously as another revenue-generating industry. Women, Family and Community Development Minister Dato' Sri Nancy Shukri said in order to create the infrastructure for care economy, her ministry has started informal discussion with several ministries, including Education Ministry and Higher Education Ministry. She said these experts are needed for the care economy industry to really grow. The ministry, according to Dato' Sri Nancy, will also have to work things out together with all other institutions providing such services.
Because we need the experts. So if you have the system, you have the modules, you have the courses in the university, you'll be creating a new job opportunity for those so-called experts in the future.
She said this to reporters at the Asia Pacific Care Economy Forum today. In her opening remarks earlier, Dato' Sri Nancy said, standing at 55.6%, Malaysia's female labour participation rate is one of the lowest in Asia, although women comprise more than 70% of students in universities. She said investment in education and the government's effort in care initiatives have given women greater employment opportunities but have not improved the labour force participation rate very much. She said the Women, Family and Community Development Ministry exploring new ways of addressing care needs which mostly impacts women who inordinately undertake the care responsibilities in their families to remain in the workforce. The National Electric Vehicle Steering Committee (NEVSC) was established to speed up the energy-efficient vehicle (EEV) ecosystem enablement to keep the country competitive with other regional peers. Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry, Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said the future of Malaysia's electric mobility and its benefits for consumers and the environment lies in the collaborative partnership across industries in an empowered ecosystem.
Jawatan kuasa pemandu ini akan diwakili oleh pelbagai kementerian, agensi kerajaan dan pihak industri yang berkaitan. What's important is kita nak selaraskan, kita nak selaraskan pemahaman dan hala tuju semua pihak berkepentingan supaya kita dapat membentuk sebuah sinergi kerjasama yang padu dalam menjayakan inisiatif yang National Electric ini berdasarkan pendekatan whole of government.
So far, Malaysia has approximately 1,000 electric vehicle charging stations. NEVSC is a vital platform in reaching the target to create at least 10,000 charging stations by 2025. Whereby Sdn Bhd has launched its Retail Tech Experience Centre that showcases Zilnex's retail solutions deployed within its own cafe named Wonders. The centre is designed to offer retailers an immersive experience where they can explore Zilnex's latest retail technologies, including the self-service ordering kiosk, iPad point of sale, restaurant queue management system and kitchen display system in a real-life cafe and retail shop setting. Chief Executive Officer Ui Boon Sheng said the company's comprehensive suite of software and hardware will help retailers to save up to 4 times in terms of cost, as they would not have to source for each solution from different service providers.
The main concept here is that we'll be able to showcase the real actual environment of how technology are being used in today's world. The pandemic has taught us a lot to building not just about simplifying growth, but as well as building resilience in terms of retail business.
He said this at the launch of the centre and the cafe today. WebBytes, a cloud-based retail management software company, is 38% owned by GD Express Carrier Berhad, GDEX. The Royal Malaysia Police (PDRM) hopes 6 more suspects in the Wang Kelian mass grave case be brought to justice. Perlis Deputy Police Chief SAC Badrul Hisham Baharudin said the 6 suspects were believed to be abroad. Met by reporters today, he said PDRM hopes the remaining 6 suspects are successfully arrested and handed over to the Malaysian government.
Dengan penyerahan 4 orang suspek secara ekstradisi oleh kerajaan Thailand pada hari ini menjadikan jumlah yang terkini tangkapan yang tersenarai dalam red notice adalah seramai 5 orang. PDRM berharap agar baki 6 lagi suspek yang dipercayai berada di luar negara berjaya ditahan dan diserahkan kepada kerajaan Malaysia kelak untuk tindakan lanjut.
He said the 4 Thai suspects were today charged in the Kanga Sessions Court under Section 26A of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act 2007. However, no plea was recorded as the offence is under the High Court's purview. In May 2015, Malaysia was shocked with the discovery of camps and graves in Wang Kelian known as the Wang Kelian mass grave, which drew various reactions from people locally and abroad. And extradition requests were made to the Thai government against 10 Thai nationals on 6 January 2017, and both countries cooperated to track down all of them for extradition. The body of a tugboat crew member believed to have fallen into the sea when the boat was anchored in the waters of Pulau Papan yesterday was found at 7:45 a.m. today. The body was located 20 meters south of Labuan's ferry jetty. Labuan Maritime Zone Director Captain Nudin Jusuf said the Maritime Rescue Sub-Centre MRSC in Kota Kinabalu activated the search and rescue operation at about 9:40 p.m. after receiving information related to the incident from the Maritime Operations Centre of the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency MMEA. He said the man was identified as Kenneth Anak Saing, 33, who worked on the local tugboat Tanjung Biru 1 and was reported missing by a friend after he was last seen at 6 p.m. In a statement today, Captain Nudin said all of the victims' personal items were found on the tugboat, which was said to have been anchored before continuing its journey to Miri, Sarawak. The victim's body had been handed over to the forensics unit of the Royal Malaysia Police for further investigation. Coming up in our foreign segment, Bangkok High School student killed by exploding fire extinguisher. The proposal by Minister in the Prime Minister's Department of Religious Affairs, Dato' Dr. Muhammad Naim Mokhtar, to bring the Grand Hajj Symposium to Malaysia has been positively received by Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabian Minister of Hajj and Umrah, Dr. Taufik Fauzan Muhammad Al Arabiya, has shown a keen interest to cooperate on the matter.
Yang tu pada dasarnya dia bersetuju dan dia akan memberikan kerjasama sekiranya Malaysia berhasrat untuk mengadakan simposium haji dan umrah di peringkat regional, peringkat Asia Tenggara.
He said the matter will be discussed further with Tabung Haji to realise the hosting of the symposium. If successful, Malaysia will be the first country to hold the Grand Hajj and Umrah Symposium outside of Saudi Arabia. The Grand Hajj Symposium is held annually in Saudi Arabia to gather scholars and experts from around the world to share knowledge, research findings and the best practices in all aspects of Hajj. Cambodia's parliament today unanimously approved a law amendment that mandates citizens to participate in voting and discourages them from boycotting the upcoming election. The law is aimed at barring those who do not cast votes from becoming candidates in future elections, the latest move by the country's longest-serving Prime Minister, Hun Sen, to stifle dissent. The Deputy Director at the Asia Division of Human Rights Watch, Phil Robertson, said the new law is also going to penalise people who are boycotting or calling for a boycott of the election. His ruling Cambodian People's Party, which makes up the entire 125-member parliament, will run virtually unopposed next month after the Election Commission disqualified the sole opposition candidate party from running, citing improper paperwork. The Election Commission said last week that anyone urging people not to vote would be fined or imprisoned. One student was killed and 5 others were injured after a fire extinguisher exploded during a fire drill at Raja Vinit Matayom School in Bangkok's Dusit district this morning. The 5 students injured in the blast were rushed to the hospital for treatment. Ministry of Education officials are investigating the cause of the blast. Ministry Permanent Secretary Atapon Sangkahawasi said officials from his ministry have been sent to the school to determine the cause of the explosion. He expressed condolences to the relatives of the deceased and victims, saying that the ministry will assist and compensate the victims. Wirachai Putahawong, a lecturer at Kasar University Faculty of Liberal Arts and Science, said the fire extinguisher may have exploded because it was old and damaged. He said fire extinguishers can sustain pressure of about 126 kilos and any higher pressure can damage them and cause them to explode. Wirachai said overfiling an old fire extinguisher can also cause it to explode, adding the exposure to sunlight can also increase the pressure of a fighter extinguisher. Coming up in sports, Parker Rocketman to meet RTG coordinator next week. The country's leading women's doubles player Perlitan, who injured her elbow while participating in the Singapore Open earlier this month, is expected to return to training next week. Women's double coach Hun Tien Hao said the 23-year-old shuttler's injury is healing and she should be able to resume training with her partner Amtina ahead of the 2023 Korea Open in July. Hun also said that he will arrange training which is suitable, tailored for Pearly to undergo the best training possible in her condition this Monday, as she is not fully fit and there were certain movements that she cannot execute. On 7th June, the Pearly-Tina pair withdrew in the opening round of the Singapore Opens against Rin Iwanaga Ki Nakanishi in the third set due to Pearly's injury as the Japanese pair led 16-9. Pearly-Tina lost the first set 13-21, but the 2022 Commonwealth Games gold medalist came back to win the second set 21-17. The injury also caused the 2022 French Open champions to withdraw from participating in the 2023 Indonesia Open on 13th June. National track cycling champion Datuk Muhammad Azizul Hasni Awang will be holding a meeting with Road to Goal RTG Committee Program Coordinator Datuk Stuart Ramalingam next week to discuss all the requirements and welfare that he needs. The 35-year-old rider said the results of the meeting is important to enable him to continue to perform at his best when taking on the country's challenge on the international stage. On Monday, the RTG committee agreed to fulfill all requests made by the cycling champion synonymous with the nickname the Pocket Rocket Man to ensure that the cyclist gets everything he needs to be in top form ahead of the 2024 Paris Olympics. Datuk Azizul Hasni was previously reported to express his disappointment with the National Sports Council (MSN), which failed to provide a complete support system in preparation for the Olympic Games. In other developments, he expressed his gratitude for all the hard work he deemed worthwhile as his latest International Cycling Union (UCI) rankings rose for the Kirin and Sprint events. Datuk Azizul Hasni previously underwent surgery in April last year following a rare heart problem known as the right coronary artery that flows from the aorta in an odd position. France Victor Wembanyama was chosen with the top pick in the NBA draft by the San Antonio Spurs on Thursday, sparkling wild celebrations as the Texas club reveled in landing the gifted teenager seen as a once-in-a-generation talent. The 2.24-meter 19-year-old hugged family members at the Spurs confirmed a decision which had been a mere formality even since San Antonio were handed the number one selection in the draft last month. Wembanyama, who is widely regarded as a transformational talent, who arrived in the NBA as the most coveted number one pick since LeBron James entered the league in 2003. In an interview with ESPN before his selection, Wembanyama said he was relishing the challenge of being a star both on and off the court. With a potentially dominant blend of size and skill, Wembanyama has already drawn a legion of admirers across the NBA before even setting foot in the league. If Wembanyama managed to live up to the hype, he could conceivably be one of the faces of the NBA for years to come, with the likes of stars such as James, Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant all went into the final phase of their playing careers. The International Boxing Association's IBA recognition as the global body for the sport was stripped by the International Olympic Committee IOC yesterday. The IOC's extraordinary session rubber-stamped the recommendation by 69 votes to 1 to withdraw the recognition over what the IOC said was failure to complete reforms on governance, finance and ethical issues. The IBA had called the IOC board's recommendation truly abhorrent and purely political and tries to have it blocked through an urgent appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, which rejected the appeal on Tuesday. The IOC had previously suspended the IBA in 2019 over governance, finance, refereeing and ethical issues and did not involve it in running the boxing events at the Tokyo Olympics. Boxing is part of the Paris 2024 Olympics, but the qualification bouts and the competition are being run by the IOC and not the IBA. Other issues such as sponsorship deal with Russian energy giant Gazprom that was terminated in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine further complicated the position of the IBA, which is led by Russian businessman Umar Kremlev. The IBA's action have led to the creation of a breakaway group called World Boxing, and several countries have left the IBA to join the new organization. Sebastian Ogier has moved into the lead of Safari Rally Kenya, convincingly winning Friday's opening stage to open up a 9.8 second lead over Toyota teammate Carle Rovanpera. Francesco Bagnaia dominated the Dutch Grand Prix last year, but he does not expect it to be as easy this year. Bagnaia turned his title hopes around last year after he took victory at Essen. However, this year he heads to Essen as the championship leader and the hunted rather than the hunter. The Italian is in good form at the moment after winning both the sprint and the Grand Prix in Mugello and finishing second in both the sprint and the Grand Prix at Sachsenring. However, Bagnaia only leads the champions by 16 points. Essen has always been a track where Bagnaia has had success in the past, as he has 3 career wins across 3 different classes at the Dutch circuit. Therefore, he said, before starting the second and most challenging part of the season, it will be important for him to consolidate his position in the standings. That concludes this edition of Malaysia Tonight. In our top story, 99% of domestic users unaffected by electricity tariff hike. Till then, I'm SAHIH Samsudin, Malaysia Madani, tekad perpaduan penuhi harapan. Thank you for watching.